In a certain kingdom, in a certain land, lived Sauravislav Andranovich. He had 3 sons, Dmitri Saurevich, Vasily Saurevich, and Ivan Saurevich. Sauravislav had a garden so rich that in no land was there better. In the garden grew many precious trees, with fruit and without fruits. Sauravislav had one favorite apple tree, and on that tree grew apples all golden. The Firebird used to fly to the garden of Sauravislav. She had wings of gold and eyes like crystals of the east, and she used to fly to that garden every night, sit on the favorite apple tree, pluck from it golden apples, then fly away. The Tsar grieved greatly over that apple tree because the Firebird plucked from it many apples. Therefore he called his 3 sons and said, "My dear children, whichever one of you can catch the Firebird in my garden and take her alive, to him I will give during my life 1/2 of the kingdom, and at my death I will give it all." Then the sons cried out in one voice, "Gracious sovereign, our father, we will try with great pleasure to take the Firebird alive." The first night, Dmitri Saurevich went to watch in the garden and sat under the apple tree from which the Firebird had been plucking the apples. He fell asleep and did not hear the Firebird when she came, nor when she plucked many apples. Next morning, Sauravislav called his son Dmitri Saurevich and asked, "Well, my dear son, hast thou seen the Firebird?" "No, gracious sovereign, my father, she came not last night." The next night, Vasily Saurevich went to the garden to watch the Firebird. He sat under the same apple tree, and in a couple of hours fell asleep so soundly that he did not hear the Firebird when she came, nor when she plucked apples. Next morning, Sauravislav called him and asked, "Well, my son, hast thou seen the Firebird?" "Gracious sovereign, my father, she came not last night." The third night, Ivan Saurevich went to watch in the garden and sat under the same apple tree. He sat an hour, a second, and a third. All at once the whole garden was lighted up as if by many fires. The Firebird flew hither, perched on the apple tree, and began to pluck apples. Ivan stole up to her so warily that he caught her tail, but could not hold the bird. She tore off, flew away, and there remained in the hand of Ivan Saurevich but one feather of the tail, which he held very firmly. Next morning, the moment Sauravislav woke from his sleep, Ivan Saurevich went to him and gave him the feather of the Firebird. The Tsar was greatly delighted that his youngest son had been able to get even one feather of the Firebird. This feather was so wonderful and bright that when carried into a dark chamber, it shone as if a great multitude of tapers were lighted in that place. Sauravislav put the feather in his cabinet as a thing to be guarded forever. From that time forth, the Firebird flew to the garden no more. Sauravislav again called his sons and said, "My dear children, I give you my blessing. Set out, find the Firebird, and bring her to me alive, and what I promised at first, he will surely receive who brings me the bird." Dmitri and Vasily Saurevich began to cherish hatred against their youngest brother because he had pulled the feather from the tail of the Firebird. They took their father's blessing and both went to find the Firebird. Ivan Saurevich, too, began to beg his father's blessing. The Tsar said to him, "My dear son, my darling child, thou art still young, unused to such a long and difficult journey. Why shouldst thou part from me? Thy brothers have gone. Now if thou goest too, and all 3 of you fail to return for a long time, I am old and walk under God, and if during your absence the Lord takes my life, who would rule in my place? There might be a rebellion, too, or disagreement among our people. There would be no one to stop it. Or if an enemy should invade our land, there would be no one to command our men." But no matter how the Tsar tried to dissuade Ivan Tsarevich, he could not avoid letting him go at his urgent prayer. Ivan Tsarevich took a blessing of his father, chose a horse, and rode away. He rode on, not knowing himself whither. Riding by the path, by the road, whether it was near or far, high or low, a tale is soon told, but a deed's not soon done. At last he came to the green meadows. In the open field a pillar stands, and on the pillar these words are written: "Whoever goes from the pillar straight forward will be hungry and cold. Whoever goes to the right will be healthy and well, but his horse will be dead. Whoever goes to the left hand will be killed himself, but his horse will be living and well." Ivan read the inscription and went to the right hand, holding in mind that though his horse might be killed, he would remain alive and might in time get another horse. He rode one day, a second, and a third. All at once an enormous gray wolf came out against him and said, "Oh, is that thou tender youth, Ivan Tsarevich? Thou hast read on the pillar that thy horse will be dead. Why hast thou come hither then?" The wolf said these words, tore Ivan Tsarevich's horse in two, and went to one side. Ivan grieved greatly for his horse. He cried bitterly and went forward on foot. He walked all day and was unspeakably tired. He was going to sit down and rest when all at once the gray wolf caught up with him and said, "I am sorry for thee, Ivan Tsarevich. Thou art tired from walking. I am sorry that I ate thy good steed. Well, sit on me, the old wolf, and tell me whither to bear thee, and why." Ivan Tsarevich told the gray wolf whither he had to go, and the gray wolf shot ahead with him swifter than a horse. After a time, just at nightfall, he brought Ivan Tsarevich to a stone wall, not very high, halted, and said, "Now, Ivan Tsarevich, come down from the gray wolf, climb over that stone wall. On the other side is a garden, and in the garden the Firebird in a golden cage. Take the Firebird, but touch not the cage. If thou takest the cage, thou'lt not escape. They will seize thee straightway." Ivan Tsarevich climbed over the wall into the garden, saw the Firebird in the golden cage, and was greatly tempted by the cage. He took the bird out and was going back, but changed his mind and thought, "Why have I taken the bird without the cage? Where can I put her?" He returned, but had barely taken down the cage when there was a hammering and thundering throughout the whole garden, for there were wires attached to the cage. The watchman woke up at that moment, ran to the garden, caught Ivan Tsarevich with the Firebird, and took him to the Tsar, who was called Dolmat. Tsar Dolmat was terribly enraged at Ivan and shouted at him in loud, angry tones, "Is it not a shame for thee, young man, to steal? But who art thou? Of what land? Of what father a son? And how do they call thee by name?" Ivan Tsarevich replied, "I am from Vislav's kingdom, the son of Sauravislav Andranovich, and they call me Ivan Tsarevich. The Firebird used to fly to our garden each night and pluck golden apples from my father's favorite apple tree, and destroyed almost the whole tree. Therefore my father has sent me to find the Firebird and bring it to him." "Oh, youthful young man, Ivan Tsarevich," said Tsar Dolmat, "is it fitting to do as thou hast done? Thou shouldest have come to me, and I would have given thee the Firebird with honor. But now, will it be well for thee when I send to all lands to declare how dishonorably thou hast acted in my kingdom? Listen, however, Ivan Tsarevich. If thou wilt do me a service, if thou wilt go beyond the thrice 9th land to the 30th kingdom, and get for me from Tsar Afron the golden-maned steed, I will forgive thy offense and give thee the Firebird with great honor. If not, I will publish in all kingdoms that thou art a dishonorable thief." Ivan Tsarevich went away from Tsar Dolmat in great grief, promising to obtain for him the golden-maned steed. He came to the Grey Wolf and told him all that Tsar Dolmat had said. "Oh, is that thou, youthful young man, Ivan Tsarevich? Why didst thou disobey my words and take the golden cage?" "I have offended in thy sight," said Ivan to the Grey Wolf. "Well, let that go. Sit on me, and I will take thee wherever thou wilt." Ivan Tsarevich sat on the back of the Grey Wolf. The wolf was as swift as an arrow and ran, whether it was long or short, till he came at last to the kingdom of Tsar Afron in the night time. Coming to the white-walled stables, the Grey Wolf said, "Go, Ivan Tsarevich, into these white-walled stables. The grooms on guard are sleeping soundly, and take the golden-maned steed. On the wall hangs a golden bridle, but take not the bridle, or it will go ill with thee." Ivan Tsarevich entered the white-walled stables, took the steed, and was coming back, but he saw on the walls the golden bridle, and was so tempted that he took it from the nail. That moment there went a thunder and noise throughout the stable, because strings were tied to the bridle. The grooms on guard woke up that moment, rushed in, seized Ivan Tsarevich, and took him to Tsar Afron. Tsar Afron began to question him. "O youthful man, tell me from what land thou art, of what father a son, how do they call thee by name?" To this Ivan Tsarevich replied, "I am from Vislav's kingdom, the son of Sauravislav, and they call me Ivan Tsarevich." "O youthful young man, Ivan Tsarevich," said Tsar Afron, "was that which thou hast done the deed of an honorable knight? I would have given thee the golden-maned steed with honor, but now will it be well for thee when I send to all lands a declaration of how dishonorably thou hast acted in my kingdom? Hear me, however, Ivan Tsarevich. If thou wilt do me a service, and go beyond the thrice 9th land to the 30th kingdom, and bring to me Princess Yelena the Beautiful, with whom I am in love, heart and soul, for a long time, but whom I cannot obtain, I will pardon thy offense, and give thee the golden-maned steed with honor. And if thou wilt not do me this service, I will declare in all lands that thou art a dishonorable thief." Ivan Tsarevich promised Tsar Afron to bring Yelena the Beautiful, left the palace, and fell to crying bitterly. He came to the Grey Wolf and told him all that happened. "Oh, Ivan Tsarevich, thou youthful young man," said the Grey Wolf, "why didst thou disobey me and take the golden bridle?" "I have offended thee in thy sight," said Ivan Tsarevich. "Well, let that go," replied the wolf. "Sit on me. I will take thee wherever need be." Ivan Tsarevich sat on the back of the Grey Wolf, who ran as swiftly as an arrow flies, and he ran in such fashion as to be told in a tale no long time, and at last he came to the kingdom of Yelena the Beautiful. Coming to the golden fence which surrounded her wonderful garden, the wolf said, "Now, Ivan Tsarevich, come down from me and go back by the same road along which we came, and wait in the field under the green oak." Ivan Tsarevich went where he was commanded, but the Grey Wolf sat near the golden fence and waited till Yelena the Beautiful should walk in the garden. Toward evening, when the sun was sinking low in the west, therefore it was not very warm in the air, Princess Yelena went to walk in the garden with her maidens and court ladies. When she entered the garden and approached the palace where the Grey Wolf was sitting behind the fence, he jumped out suddenly, caught the princess, sprang back again, and bore her away with all his power and might. He came to the green oak in the open field where Ivan Tsarevich was waiting, and said, "Ivan Tsarevich, sit on me quickly." Ivan sat on him, and the grey wolf bore them both along swiftly to the kingdom of Sauravislav. The nurses and maidens and all the court ladies who had been walking in the garden with Princess Yelena the Beautiful ran straight away to the palace and sent pursuers to overtake the grey wolf. But no matter how they ran, they could not overtake him, and turned back. Ivan Tsarevich, while sitting on the grey wolf with Princess Yelena the Beautiful, came to love her with his heart, and she Ivan Tsarevich. And when the grey wolf arrived at the kingdom of Sauravislav, and Ivan Tsarevich had to take Yelena the Beautiful to the palace and give her to Sauravislav, he grew very sad, and began to weep tearfully. "What art thou weeping for, Ivan Tsarevich?" asked the grey wolf. "My friend, why should I, good youth, not weep? I have formed a heartfelt love for Yelena the Beautiful, and now I must give her to Sauravislav for the golden-maned steed. And if I yield her not, then Sauravislav will dishonor me in all lands." "I have served thee much, Ivan Tsarevich," said the grey wolf, "and I will do yet this service. Listen to me. I will turn myself into a princess, Yelena the Beautiful. Do thou give me to Sauravislav, and take from him the golden-maned steed. He will think me the real princess, and when thou art sitting on the steed and riding far away, I will beg of Sauravislav permission to walk in the open field. When he lets me go with the maidens and nurses and all the court ladies, and I am with them in the open field, remember me, and I will come to thee." The grey wolf spoke these words, struck the damp earth, and became a princess, Yelena the Beautiful, so that it was not possible in any way to know that the wolf was not the princess. Ivan Tsarevich told Yelena the Beautiful to wait outside the town, and took the grey wolf to the palace of Sauravislav. When Ivan Tsarevich came with the pretended Yelena the Beautiful, Sauravislav was greatly delighted in his heart that he had received a treasure which he had long desired. He took the false maiden and gave Ivan Tsarevich the golden-maned steed. Ivan Tsarevich mounted the steed and rode out of the town, seated Yelena the Beautiful with him, and rode on, holding his way toward the kingdom of Sauravislav. The grey wolf lived with Sauravislav a day, a second, and a third, instead of Yelena the Beautiful. On the fourth day he went to Sauravislav, begging to go out in the open field to walk, to drive away cruel grief and sorrow. Then Sauravislav said, "Oh, my beautiful Princess Yelena, I will do everything for thee. I will let thee go to the open field to walk." And straightway he commanded the nurses, the maidens, and all the court ladies to go to the open field and walk with the beautiful princess. Ivan Tsarevich was riding along his road and path with Yelena the Beautiful, talking with her, and he had forgotten about the grey wolf, but afterward remembered, "Oh, where is my grey wolf?" All at once, from wherever he came, the wolf stood before Ivan and said, "Ivan Tsarevich, sit on me, the grey wolf, and let the beautiful princess ride on the golden-maned steed." Ivan Tsarevich sat on the grey wolf, and they went toward the kingdom of Sauravislav. Whether they journeyed long or short, when they had come to the kingdom, they stopped about 3 versts from the capital town, and Ivan Tsarevich began to implore, "Listen to me, grey wolf, my dear friend. Thou hast shown me many a service. Show me the last one now, and the last one is this. Couldst thou not turn to a golden-maned steed instead of this one? For I do not like to part with this horse." Suddenly the grey wolf struck the damp earth and became a golden-maned steed. Ivan Tsarevich, leaving Princess Yelena in the green meadow, sat on the grey wolf and went to the palace of Sauravislav. The moment he came, Sauravislav saw that Ivan Tsarevich was riding on the golden-maned steed, and he rejoiced greatly. Straightway he went out of the palace, met the Tsarevich in the broad court, kissed him, took him by the right hand, and led him into the white stone chambers. Sauravislav, on the occasion of such joy, gave orders for a feast, and they sat at the oaken table at the spread cloth. They ate, they drank, they amused themselves and rejoiced exactly 2 days. And on the 3rd day Tsar gave Ivan Tsarevich the Firebird together with the golden cage. Ivan took the Firebird, went outside the town, sat on the golden-maned steed together with Yelena the Beautiful, and went toward his own native place, toward the kingdom of Sauravislav. Tsar the next day thought to take a ride through the open field on his golden-maned steed. He ordered them to saddle him. He sat on the horse and rode to the open field. The moment he urged the horse threw Tsar off his back, became the gray wolf as before, ran off, and came up with Ivan Tsarevich. "Ivan Tsarevich," said he, "sit on me, the gray wolf, and let Yelena the Beautiful ride on the golden-maned steed." Ivan sat on the gray wolf, and they went their way. When the gray wolf had brought Ivan to the place where he had torn his horse, he stopped and said, "I have served thee sufficiently with faith and truth. On this spot I tore thy horse in two. To this spot I have brought thee. Come down from me, the gray wolf. Thou hast a golden-maned steed. Sit on him, and go wherever thou hast need. I am no longer thy servant." The gray wolf said these words and ran to one side. Ivan wept bitterly for the gray wolf and went on with the beautiful princess. Whether he rode long or short with the beautiful princess, when he was within 20 versts of his own kingdom, he stopped, dismounted, and he and the beautiful princess rested from the heat of the sun under a tree. He tied the golden-maned steed to the same tree and put the cage of the Firebird by his side. Lying on the soft grass, they talked pleasantly and fell soundly asleep. At that time, the brothers of Ivan Tsarevich, Dmitri and Vasily Tsarevich, after traveling through many lands without finding the Firebird, were on their way home with empty hands, and came unexpectedly upon their brother with the beautiful princess. Seeing the golden-maned steed and the Firebird in the cage, they were greatly tempted and thought of killing their brother Ivan. Dmitri took his own sword out of the scabbard, stabbed Ivan Tsarevich, and cut him to pieces. Then he roused the beautiful princess and asked, "Beautiful maiden, of what land art thou? Of what father or daughter? And how do they call thee by name?" The beautiful princess, seeing Ivan Tsarevich dead, was terribly frightened. She began to shed bitter tears, and in her tears she said, "I am Princess Yelena the Beautiful. Ivan Tsarevich, whom ye have given to a cruel death, got me. If ye were good knights, ye would have gone with him into the open field and conquered him there. But ye killed him when asleep, and what fame will ye receive for yourselves? A sleeping man is the same as a dead one." Then Dmitri Tsarevich put his sword to the heart of Yelena the Beautiful and said, "Hear me, Yelena the Beautiful. Thou art now in our hands. We will take thee to our father, Sauravislav. Thou wilt tell him that we got thee, and the Firebird, and the golden-maned steed. If not, we will give thee to death this minute." The princess, afraid of death, promised them, and swore by everything sacred that she would speak as commanded. Then they began to cast lots who should have Yelena the Beautiful, and who the golden-maned steed. And the lot fell that the princess should go to Vasily, and the golden-maned steed to Dmitri. Then Vasily Tsarevich took the princess and placed her on his horse. Dmitri sat on the golden-maned steed and took the Firebird to give to their father, Sauravislav, and they went their way. Ivan Tsarevich lay dead on that spot exactly 30 days. Then the gray wolf ran up, knew Ivan by his odor, wanted to aid him, to bring him to life, but knew not how. Just then the gray wolf saw a raven with 2 young ones who were flying above the body and wanted to eat the flesh of Ivan Tsarevich. The wolf hid behind a bush And when the young ravens had come down and were ready to eat the body, he sprang out, caught one, and was going to tear it in two. Then the raven came down, sat a little way from the gray wolf, and said, "O gray wolf, touch not my young child. It has done nothing to thee." "Listen to me, raven," said the gray wolf. "I will not touch thy child. I will let it go unharmed, and well if thou wilt do me a service. Fly beyond the thrice ninth land to the 30th kingdom, and bring me the water of death and the water of life." "I will do that, but touch not my son." Having said these words, the raven flew away and soon disappeared from sight. On the third day the raven returned, bringing 2 vials, in one the water of life, in the other the water of death, and gave them both to the gray wolf. The wolf took the vials, tore the young raven in two, sprinkled it with the water of death. The little raven grew together. He sprinkled it with the water of life, and the raven sprung up and flew away. The gray wolf sprinkled Ivan Sauravič with the water of death. The body grew together, and he sprinkled it with the water of life. Ivan Sauravič stood up and exclaimed, "Oh, how long I have slept! Thou wouldst have slept forever had it not been for me. Thy brothers cut thee to pieces and carried off Princess Yelena with the golden-maned steed and the Firebird. Now hurry with all speed to thy own country. Vasily Sauravič will marry thy bride today. To reach home quickly, sit on me, I will bear thee." Ivan sat on the gray wolf. The wolf ran with him to the kingdom of Sauravislav, and whether it was long or short, he ran to the edge of town. Ivan sprang from the gray wolf, walked into the town, and found that his brother Vasily had married Yelena the Beautiful, had returned with her from the ceremony, and was sitting with her at the feast. Ivan Sauravič entered the palace, and when Yelena the Beautiful saw him, she sprang up from the table, kissed him, and cried out, "This is my dear bridegroom, Ivan Sauravič, and not that scoundrel at the table." Then Sauravislav rose from his place and asked the meaning of these words. Yelena the Beautiful told the whole truth, told how Ivan Sauravič had won her, the golden-maned steed and the Firebird, how his elder brother had killed him while asleep, and how they had terrified her into saying that they had won everything. Sauravislav was terribly enraged at Dmitri and Vasily and cast them into prison, but Ivan Sauravič married Yelena the Beautiful and lived with her in harmony and love, so that one of them could not exist a single minute without the other.